Sean Diddy Combs is facing a new lawsuit from a producer on his most recent album. Rodney Jones accuses the music mogul of sexually harassing and threatening him for more than a year.
Diddy has made headlines once again, and this time, the allegations against the music executive are pretty serious. A former employee accused him of some shocking crimes, and one of his close friends, Cuba Gooding Jr., also found his name in the lawsuit.
We're not here to convince you that he's guilty or he's innocent. We're putting the trial on trial. We're putting that time in America.
What have the two men done this time? Will Diddy finally face consequences for his shady acts? Let's find out right now. Do you remember the last time Diddy got talked about for his music or even his business? I bet you can't. The infamous producer has a habit of staying in the eyes of the media for the most concerning reasons. Every time we think he can't possibly do something worse than the last, and yet he manages to surprise us every time. The recent news against the producer is definitely the most shocking one to date. This time, a man has come forward and accused him of forcing himself on him. Diddy worked with rising producer Lil Rod on his latest album. Rodney Jones, also known as Lil Rod, worked on the Love album Off the Grid from September 2022 through November 2023. The two men had to spend a lot of time together, and Lil Rod stayed and traveled with Diddy throughout the year. But now, Lil Rod has come forward with his harrowing experience of working with Diddy, and it's traumatizing to say the least. Lil Rod filed a lawsuit against the producer, accusing him of harassment and assault. The list of allegations against Diddy is so long that I cannot even recall them all, but I'll let you know the most shocking ones. According to Rodney, Diddy managed to turn the past year into a nightmare for him. The young producer was ecstatic when he found out he was getting the opportunity to work with someone as huge as Diddy. After all, that man has the whole music industry in a chokehold. Because of his influence, Rodney thought it would be good for his career to be credited as a producer on Diddy's latest album. But what we hadn't known was that this year would change his life in ways he had never imagined. What did Diddy do to him that he had to file a lawsuit and take him to court? Lil Rod has given a pretty detailed account of everything he had to go through at the hands of Diddy. According to the lawsuit, Diddy forced himself on Rodney multiple times. He forcibly touched the young producer and attempted to touch his private parts as well. In another incident, Diddy forced Lil Rod to work in his bathroom while he showered naked just a few feet away. Diddy did not stop at this. He then pushed Lil Rod to procure workers and film them. Rodney says that he was forced to sleep with these women who were often underage. Diddy also recorded these interactions. In one incident, Lil Rod also claims to have been drugged before being taken advantage of by the workers. He says he also has footage of Diddy lacing alcoholic beverages with drugs and giving them to these underage girls. Diddy did not stop at this and even tried to intimidate Rodney with violence. He was pretty adamant about getting what he wanted and made such threats that are traumatizing to even hear about. He threatened Lil Rod that he would eat his face and was willing to murder his mother in order to get what he wanted. This was Diddy's way of saying that he would not think twice before hurting Rodney. It turns out Diddy is not alone in his crimes. After all, how can he manage to keep up this behavior for so long? Diddy has a whole support system that not only encourages this behavior, but also makes sure that Diddy is not caught. Rodney named a few men who were also a main part of the trafficking ring. His 30-year-old son, Justin Dior Combs, his chief of staff, and Combs Global Enterprises were some of the names involved in this crime ring. When Rodney informed Diddy's chief of staff about the shower incident, he was gaslit, and the chief responded in a rather condescending way that it was just friendly horseplay and that it was Diddy's way of showing how much he liked him. In fact, the lawsuit claims Mr. Jones has secured hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity. The next allegation is the most shocking and affected Lil Rod the most. Diddy was grooming Jones to pass him off to his friends, including none other than Cuba Gooding Jr. Yes, you heard heard that right. The esteemed actor Cuba Gooding was involved hands-on in the assault. He alleged that the actor had groped him and touched him inappropriately without his consent. A photograph apparently showing Gooding Jr. putting his arm around Jones and another showing Combs and Gooding conversing on the boat are included in the lawsuit. Rodney has not named Cuba as a defendant and has again claimed that it was Diddy who was behind all these horrible actions. Apparently, Diddy was in charge of who got to hurt Lil Rod, and he specifically allowed Cuba Gooding to harass him. Lil Rod says Diddy had complete control over Cuba's actions, and everything going on through the year was on Diddy's orders. After everything that had happened to the producer, he walked away penniless and disrespected. Lil Rod has also claimed that the music executive refused to pay him for all the work he put into his latest album. He also mentioned in the lawsuit how he had not been compensated for thousands of hours of work in these 13 months. Despite working on and being credited with 9 of the songs on the album, Rodney says he didn't make any money from it. According to Jones, Combs promised him a Grammy for Producer of the Year for his work on the Love album, offered to buy instruments, and promised to connect him with high-level record company executives and real properties. None of this happened, of course, and Lil Rod left empty-handed. Diddy's legal team has a lot of practice in these few years because more and more allegations keep coming one after the other. Just a few days ago, Diddy was busy with another controversy in which his ex-girlfriend Cassandra accused him of harassment and assault. Diddy didn't reject these claims like he normally does and instead settled with her out of court. This incident, however, opened the floodgates, and in no time, multiple other women came forward with similar accusations. I'm guessing Diddy's legal team has statements ready to be released at all times, considering how often these incidents have occurred. This time again, the legal team completely rejected all of Rodney James' claims. According to the team, all these claims have no basis in reality, and Rodney just wants a late paycheck. They want to paint Rodney as an opportunist who saw the tide turning on Diddy and decided to make some money off of it. But the detailed account Rodney has given, along with the fact that he is ready to give hundreds of hours of footage to back up his claims, really makes his case strong. Cuba Gooding does not have a better reputation than Diddy himself. In fact, he has also caught himself in similar sinister cases in the past. In 2022, the Jerry Maguire actor found himself in court when a woman named Jasmine Abbey claimed that he had forcibly kissed her without her consent in September 2018, while she was working as a cocktail waitress at the Lavo nightclub in Midtown Manhattan. He pleaded guilty in this misconduct case but ended up facing no jail time. 6 months later, the charge was reduced to harassment, for which Goodwin entered a guilty plea after agreeing to undergo alcohol and behavior management therapy as well as to forego additional arrests. Then again, last year, a woman claimed he had harassed her and was adamant on taking him to court. The actor was quick to settle this matter out of court, so we can imagine how bad the accusations must have been. That's not all. As it turns out, Cuba failed to learn any lessons after these incidents and continued on with his inappropriate and downright criminal behavior. Once again, he found himself in trouble when 2 women claimed he sexually assaulted and battered them in separate instances in 2018 and 2019. These incidents are just the few that made it to court. There might be countless other cases where women are afraid of standing up against the actor and refuse to name him. This time, Cuba seems a lot more careful and has so far restrained from making any statements. Diddy's team, however, has all their guns out and is already picking Lil Rod's case apart. In his lawsuit, Rodney claimed that the women he was forced to engage with were underage. He went so far as to provide pictures as proof of this, but it turns out Rodney was mistaken about the ages of these women. They're also coming forward, claiming that they were well over the legal limit at the time these pictures were taken. Chelsea was one of the women featured in the pictures, and she says she's 33 years old. This means she was over 30 at the time the pictures were taken. In another picture, who Rodney had claimed to be an underage call girl turned out to be the 32-year-old girlfriend of Diddy's son, Justin. Diddy's team was quick to jump on these claims and is now saying Rodney's team has a weak lawsuit made up of such false claims. They've also contacted Lil Rod's attorney, but so far, no contact has been made with the producer or his legal team. Could this be an admission of guilt by Rodney, or is it a means for him to avoid getting blackmailed by Diddy and his strong legal defense team? Although this is the 5th lawsuit against Diddy since only November, this is the first time that a man has come forward with these allegations against the executive executive, let alone a male employee. Cuba Gooding is also the same. Despite having multiple accusations against him, he was never accused by a man of inappropriate behavior. Diddy is saying these new allegations are nothing but an attempt to malign his name, which is funny, considering the only thing Diddy is known for nowadays are these assault allegations that don't seem to stop. As always, Diddy's team is trying to settle this case out of court, but so far there has been no response from Lil Rod's side. The past accusations against the two men make me think that Rodney might be telling the truth after all. Diddy is finally seeing some pushback from Hollywood after decades of not facing any consequences for his actions. Plans for Combs' reality TV show at Hulu were cancelled last autumn, and he resigned as chairman of Revolt TV. It won't be surprising if Cuba also gets blacklisted from the industry. This lawsuit does not seem like one that would easily get brushed under the rug. What consequences will these men face for their crimes? Only time will tell. But one thing is for certain, the public is finally catching on to Diddy, Cuba, and their despicable crimes. That's it from my side for today, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you always get the latest updates. Press the thumbs up button and comment down below what you think of these latest allegations. Until next time, take care and goodbye.